Hello, everyone. So, today we'll be talking about some of the roles, duties, and responsibilities of HR manager. So, I'm sure you people are aware, as to those who are already working in the HR department, you are aware of certain responsibilities and roles. But those who are trying to appear for the interviews of HR manager or so, it is important for you to understand what kind of roles, duties, and responsibilities will be provided to you once you join the respective designation? So let's talk about the duties first. First one is to develop a thorough knowledge of corporate culture, plans, and policies. As we are aware, there are many HR policies which are to be framed for the employees. Effectively, it has to be communicated to them, and accordingly we need to make sure that it is simple and easy to understand. The next duty is to act as an internal change agent and consultant, because companies are related in this way that all the employees should understand, and they should all perform the duties and responsibilities well. Whatever task is allotted to each individual, they should be able to perform it with ease and with correct guidance. The next duty is to initiate change and act as an expert facilitator. So, as HR, you have lots of responsibilities to fulfill. So, you should be a facilitator. You should be ready to initiate the change as and when required, because all the things, all the activities you perform should be there to work towards the goals of organization. You should be actively involved in company strategy formulation. You should always give your suggestions, and you should always work for the well-being of employees. So these points are necessary when we talk about the duties of HR manager. Few more points to add in this. There should be an open communication between the HRD function and individuals, both within and outside the organization. See, we understand this concept that when we work in an organization, there are employees who are within the company, but there are also employees who work outside the company, but they help in some kind of outsourcing. Maybe they are business partners, business vendors, some clients, some customers, etc. So this gap has to be bridged every time. Then there comes identification and evolvement of HRT strategies in consonance with the overall business strategy. So this point also is very important. And when the HR managers are given up their duties, they should understand all these in a nutshell. Let's move on to some of the responsibilities, although we'll be discussing them in detail. So some of the core responsibilities are employee recruitment and selection, employee training, performance and evaluation, compensation benefits, planning and staffing needs, and whatever tasks are related for employee well-beings. Everything is crucial when it comes to the responsibility of HR manager. So before we proceed ahead with further description, I want you all to pause the video here and do a small brainstorming by yourself. How well can you understand these points? What is your knowledge towards this? Let's just do it together. So, what are the roles of HR? We can now discuss in detail. I'm sure you've done a quick brainstorming by yourself. So, the first one is HR planning. The important role of HR, it is to manage the resources in terms of the employees, the staff members, the different departments. What are the needs of different departments? Everything has to be taken care of. The HR has to assign the right resources to the right department, and they need to make sure that the particular employee is able to fulfill his part well. Whatever task is allotted to that particular employee, is he able to do that properly? Or if there is a gap, how can we bridge it? Everything should be managed, controlled by the HR department. The HRs have to be proactively involved in the planning process. Accordingly, if they are able to analyze the goals of the companies, the need of the company, they can provide better resources every time. Because this step becomes very crucial when we have to do the hiring and the selection process, as it is difficult if we are not able to select the right candidate for the right role. Everything has to be managed well. Everything needs to be planned beforehand. And this recruitment cannot just happen overnight. There is a proper planning associated. The next part is job analysis and job design. We have discussed right now that one of the important roles of HR is to hire right candidates for the right designation. Yes, job analysis here will help us achieve this purpose. So when we release a job description, in that job description, it is clearly described what are the qualifications required for X particular designation, what is the salary, the basic salary at least that is disclosed, what shall be the roles of that employee, what are the expectations, and what kind of duties he needs to perform. Everything is mentioned in the job description in brief, and when it is circulated for different vacancies, job description has to be read by the particular candidate properly. When you feel you are the right fit for this role, accordingly, you should apply for that. So, it is the responsibility of HR to form high performance work groups. They need to move the employees from one job to the other in the organization. This is also called as promotions. So, when you feel that this particular employee is performing really well, and now he can be moved to a different department to handle a different set of responsibility, this process also takes place. And accordingly, all the existing employees can get the opportunity to work for different departments and to get that kind of promotion. So everything has to be managed by the HR team. Then we have the work culture. I'm sure you people have heard from your friends or your peer groups, I don't really like the work culture of this company, but the work culture of that company is very good. Why do they talk like that? Is this work culture so important? Yes, the answer is absolutely yes. In order to sustain an employee in the company, in order to retain him, it is important that we provide him with a healthy work culture. The person should feel comfortable. Our workplace is the place where we spend most of the time at. So, if the employees feel comfortable, they are friendly with the environment, they are able to talk to their peer groups with ease, such a culture is highly appreciated. And yes, it is the duty of HR to work towards maintaining this kind of healthy work culture. They need to check whether employees are enjoying coming to office daily, or is there something that is troubling them. Are they able to express their problems freely? Are we approachable to them? This kind of work culture should be always maintained. HR also needs to plan certain companies' events. For example, there can be some events like recognition programs or some kind of reward ceremony, or maybe you can even organize some New Year festival, Christmas carnivals, whatever is the culture, you should plan such events in accordance to that. Because these events are just not for fun, but to give that healthy culture to the employees. They should feel that sense of belongingness. They should feel good when they come to office daily. And the smile should be always there on the face of your employees. It even improves the overall brand image of your company, and everybody can talk in a positive way with each other because such events are so crucial. They really help us to build a strong work culture. The next point is recruiting candidates. We know about this very clearly that one of the major responsibilities of HR is to hire suitable candidates for different roles, for different positions. And this complete recruitment process is quite tedious if not managed properly. There are many steps involved. There are many stages involved. Sometimes companies do ask their employees to have a written assessment. Sometimes they just have a series of interviews, starting from the manager, I mean, the assistant manager, then senior manager, and manager. Like this, the hierarchy can be evolved. So, HR department has to be closely associated with different departments, and they need to make sure that this recruitment process goes smooth, because this is the first step. When we have to select that the right candidate, we need to pitch him for the right role. So if the first step goes well, the rest of the story can be beautiful. Next point is processing of payroll. So payroll means when we have to decide the salary, bonus and incentives of all the employees. Yes, initially when the employee enters the company, you need to talk about the salary. Incentives and bonus part come later on when he is able to spend a particular tenure in the company, but everything has to be managed by the HR team. No process goes verbally. Every time there is a proper documentation that happens. So if somebody has to get a bonus, then also there has to be a proper documentation process. Everything is decided in advance as to which employee which will get how much of bonus, incentive of, or if there are some additional variable components, how it is to be distributed. In payroll, apart from the salary structure, there are also some components that are to be covered. Some of the examples are attendance, managing attendance of the employees, giving them holidays, week offs, some kind of leave such as sick leaves, casual leaves, paid leaves, unpaid leaves, medical leaves, or whatsoever the case may be. All these points are directly linked to the appraisal of employees. So everything has to be managed right from day one when the employee joins the company. Everything has to be checked, his punctuality, his routine. Is he able to maintain the discipline and decorum of the company? Everything has to be checked right from day one so that when performance appraisal happens, these records are used and everybody is paid fairly. Next part is updating the workplace policies. Yes, we know that HRs, they have to make the policies of the company, and as required, there should be some proper changes that need to be made. Sometimes technology become obsolete, or sometimes there are series of steps which are no longer in use. That is the reason these policies also need some kind of upgradation or updation. HRs have to check it time to time. They need to implement it properly, and they need to check whether the employees are understanding and if they are able to implement it or not. Apart from policies, we also need to check whether we are able to reduce the conflicts if there are between the employees, or are we able to handle the legal issues in proper accordance or not? And what are the steps that we are taking to improve the productivity of employees? Because employees are not machines, we understand it. Therefore, for a human being, it is important that we provide the steps in accordance to his own ability and skills. So everybody's productivity level is different. Everybody's way of working is different. Even though we are all working towards the goals of the company, still there can be some mismatch. So how to align everything on the same page, again, is the duty, responsibility of HRs. HRs also need to maintain the employee records, the data of one particular employee. The moment he enters the company, he's able to provide his ID proof, his phone number, address, etc. That is the step one. And later, as he keeps on working in the company, the other kind of data is also maintained in a particular record. How is he performing? Is he able to meet the targets? What the number says about his performance? Anything. like that is calculated and is kept separately in a suitable record, because these records will help us to decide the appraisal of the employees. It will help us to give them some compensation benefits, and this personal information, emergency information also can help us to approach them if in case there is some kind of emergency or we are not able to contact them. Next is implementing of performance appraisals. So yes, we know this. When an employee works in a company, he has to undergo a performance appraisal, which will include his increment, extra perks or benefits if he is eligible to get some. And accordingly, everything has to be planned in a fair way. Everything should be kept transparent. How the employee has performed, it will only decide his appraisal part. There has to be a clear communication between the different departments, as in the top management and the employee whose performance appraisal is happening. Yes, HRs have to be in between somewhere. And like this process has to be continued in the smooth way. Then HRs also need to manage the compensation part. Compensation can be in terms of money, maybe it can be in some other form. There should not be any question mark that only we should give money to the employees in the form of compensation. We can even give them some kind of discount coupons, vouchers, some gifts, or whatsoever the case may be. There can be some extra services for them to use. So this compensation will actually motivate the employees. It will encourage them to work with full dedication and enthusiasm, because most of the times human beings are in need for that, and they really like it that if some other colleague of my team is getting this kind of compensation, why should I not get it? So in order to get it, I should work very hard with complete dedication and enthusiasm. And if when I am able to get that compensation, I will feel also privileged about it. So this is how HRs have to perform different roles and responsibilities. Coming on to employee satisfaction, which again is a very crucial point. So HRs again have to check this part. They need to ensure the employee satisfaction. They need to check whether my employees are feeling motivated at work. Are they satisfied? Is there something that is troubling them? Or can I ensure better work culture for them? Can we have more benefits for them if feasible within the scope of the company? So everything has to be checked by the HR team. HRs also need to make sure that there are good relationships between the employees. A healthy and a positive environment can always lead to good relationships. When we talked about arranging the events, planning some kind of ceremonies, from there, we can certainly generate good relationships between different employees. They should mutually respect each other. Top management, lower management, there should not be any boundary. They should always be connected to each other as and when required, and everybody should enter each other's space in a positive way. We should not feel burdened from the work. We should not feel bad about something. Rather, we should be able to handle everything in a positive way. So if this kind of relationship is maintained, the environment will automatically turn out to be healthy and positive. So HRs, they have a crucial role in resolving the conflicts if there are any between the employees or maybe between employees and management. So let's move on to some of the essential skills of the HR, although there are many. But to just keep it a little bit short, we have tried to cover some of the important points. One is that HR should have excellent management and talent handling skills. HRs ultimately, they should be good with their managerial skills, as they need to manage so many people and so many responsibilities. So their managerial skills will help the company to grow, and it will also help the company achieve its targets. HR should be multitasking because, as we have discussed the various roles and responsibilities, you need to be multitasking. Apart from your own work that is allotted to you, you should also be able to take care of your employees. If they want to approach you, you should be available. You should be open to talk. Or if there are some conflicts, you should be able to handle them. If you have to arrange meetings, events, or seminars, then also you should do your work with 100% dedication. This is where your multitasking skills will be used. You should have familiarity with complete recruitment process, and when the employee comes for the interview, he should not feel like a stranger. He should get that friendliness from you. You should be good with your negotiation and communication skills because this also holds an important part. If you're not able to communicate about the HR policies or the guidelines of the company, probably the staff will not understand as to what are you trying to say. And sometimes there can be negotiations where maybe you are trying to convince the other party with something. So, if your negotiation and communication skills are effective, you can definitely grow well at your workplace. You should be very good when it comes to conflict management. If two employees are having an argument or a tiff, you should be the person to have some kind of solution ready for them. You cannot step aside and say that this is none of my business. These two people are mature enough and they should handle by themselves. No. As HR, this is your prime responsibility to take care of such conflicts. If any such scenario comes up in the company, you should be able to handle it. Yes, you can certainly take help from your seniors. You can take help of other colleagues if required, but you should be able to solve it. Then you should be able to provide training and development services to all the employees. Because unless and until one person is able to train himself, he is not having enough knowledge, it is difficult for anybody to grow. If I have restricted knowledge, if I have limited knowledge, there is no scope for me to grow further. So, yes, training, learning, and development are crucial. The HR, they also need to have the talent performance evaluation skills. Then only they can evaluate the performance of an employee and they can place him in the right department. They can check, is he eligible for promotion? Or if they are hiring some new employees, then they can check which employee is suitable for my company and in which department he can serve the best of his responsibilities. Everything is important. As HR, you should be good with change management skills. Change is the only constant. We know like that. So, whenever there are changes coming in the company, there is some kind of market fluctuation. Some industry standards are getting changed. The trends are changing. Whatsoever the case may be, you as HR should be able to manage the different changes and even make it easy for others to adapt. The diversity and inclusion skills are also important for an HR because there are people from multiple backgrounds. They have different set of qualifications and intellect level. Not everybody thinks alike. Not everybody has same kind of upbringing. So that is why there can be some conflicts. There can be some confusion. You should be good at handling all of this. Last but not the least, one HR should have the skills of technical and strategic knowledge. Technology, technical things, yes, we talk about it on a daily basis. We have these emerging technological trends. So every time, whenever there is a change in technology or some kind of technical requirement, you should be ready with the solution. So these are some of the essential skills of an HR. Still, we have more responsibilities to discuss, and let's discuss them together. So, the first one is the strategic role, which includes strategic planning and business alignment. So, what happens So what happens when HRs are working in designing different kind of strategies, they are trying to understand the responsibilities of different departments of different staff members. They need to make sure that all the company's objectives are met. All the HR practices, whatever task you are performing, all of them should be aligned with the overall strategic plan that you have created. And this can even include having the right people with the right skills, with the right skill sets, and they should be placed at the correct, they should be placed in the correct department. They should be having the correct designation that is allotted to them. Because when you have given a designation to an employee, you have hired him, he should be able to perform well according to his skill sets in that department. So HRs, they have to collaborate with the key stakeholders and they have to create a strategic plan, which should be in accordance with the company's vision and mission. See, whatever task we do, everything has to do with the company's goals, the company's targets. So when we design such kind of strategies, it has to be in alignment with the company. We need to make sure that all the company's plans, values are added into that. Next is alignment to the business goals. So effective HR professionals, they work closely with the business leaders. First, they have to understand the needs, the goals, requirements, and accordingly, they have to design the strategies that can support the goals. These strategies may include recruitment and selection process, employee development, training sessions that we have talked earlier on the training sessions too. It can even cover the compensation and benefit programs. So whatever task you are performing, right from recruitment to selection to induction and orientation of employee, or even providing training, learning, development services to your employees, everything should be aligned with the business goal. And this business goal is decided by the top management in accordance with the company's vision and mission. Let's continue further. So there are some compliance requirements that includes the legal compliance and the admin responsibilities. So what are compliance responsibilities? Actually, it has to do with the laws, rules, and regulations. HRs, they need to develop and implement the policies that comply with the legal and regulatory requirements. Any kind of laws, any kind of legal things can be there in your company, and you need to make sure that all the policies are designed in such a way that they cover important points like equal opportunity, anti-discrimination, harassment prevention, compensation benefits, and the working conditions. Because if legally, ethically, we are not right with something, the employees may feel bad about it. They have to suffer ultimately. So we need to make sure that all these strategies, all these points are designed in accordance to that. After this, we have administrative responsibilities where HR professionals have to maintain accurate and secure employee records. They need to check the employee benefits and even they need to manage the payroll process with complete precision and dedication. They need to check whether employees are able to receive the benefits or not. Whatever benefits were provided to them, whatever points were discussed with them, are they able to receive it or not? And such benefits can include the health benefits, retirement benefits, or even the vacation time if something like that is provided. So HRs, they also need to make sure that employees are paid accurately and in time. They need to check the compliance within the tax and the regulations, as it is important for us to follow the government rules, regulations, and laws, and we have no right to change it. Continuing further. So we have this growing the business need, the selection, the workforce planning, and recruitment planning, everything comes along with it. So this process of workforce planning, it involves the HR and they need to work along with the business leaders because then only they will be able to assess the current needs and the future needs of the company. In accordance to that, they should be able to create the plans so that right people are selected for the right designation and the company is able to meet the targets and the goals. So this is how the workforce planning is executed, because you need to check how many employees are required in which department, how this department will proceed further with its course of action. Then we do have an important point which is related to recruitment and the selection responsibilities. So HRs, they need to work in collaboration with the business leaders to check for the recruitment and selection. The business leaders, the top management only will give an idea to the HR team. They will suggest them, they will tell them that these many employees are required in this department, what kind of qualifications they need, what should be the experience, are they open to take freshers as well for this designation. Everything is decided, and accordingly the HRs have to proceed with the recruitment and selection process. Then we have employee development, the onboarding, training, and development responsibilities. Onboarding comes up when employees are selected. They have given the interviews, now they are selected, but they should feel goodness about the company. They should be welcomed. There should be a proper ceremony for them, a formal one, and they should be introduced to all the existing team members. They should be even given a small treat kind of thing so that they feel good about the company. Training and development of employees is very crucial at every stage of life. It does not, it is not the case when we say that, okay, now I have 10 years of experience and I need no form of learning. Learning, it has no age, it has no criteria, and learning should be an endless process. Learning should never stop in our career. So if we want to grow, we want to identify the skill gaps if there are any, or if there are some loopholes that we really want to cover, such kind of training sessions can be really helpful. There can be on the job training programs, there can be off the job training programs, but everywhere we need to make sure this professional development happens. So then HRs also need to manage the talent. They need to check the employee experience, engage them in different activities, and accordingly, their performance is evaluated. So, employee experience responsibilities, where HRs need to develop the policies so that there can be a balance between the work and the life. I mean, the personal life and the professional life, and every individual is growing professionally within the company. In the employee engagement responsibilities, the HRs are responsible for increasing the employee engagement. How they can do it? By taking constant feedback from the employees. They can have a verbal communication. Sometimes employees are able to put up their ideas virtually as well. So employees, if they get a recognition or acknowledgement like this, there will be a constant growth in their motivation. Their productivity, their performance will always increase if such an environment is provided to the employees. Another important aspect is performance management, where HRs have to check how the employees are performing. How is their performance evaluated? Are we following a transparent way where every employee can check his performance through numbers or some kind of data? And this should happen regularly. Every employee should get a constant feedback about his performance. He should be given guidance on how he can improve his work if there is a lack somewhere. So, what are some of the key takeaways from the points that we have discussed? Quickly, we will discuss them in a nutshell. So, the first was the strategic role, where strategic planning was involved, and HRs have to do that in collaboration with the business leaders. Because if strategies are not maintained well, there can be some areas of disturbance. Then HRs need to make sure that everything is in accordance with the laws, rules, regulations, and all the administrative responsibilities are fulfilled well. When it comes to growing the business or meeting the profits, HRs, they need to have a proper workforce planning. If they are able to select right candidates for the right responsibilities, the business will always grow. The company will always be in profits. So HRs, they also need to nurture the employees by providing them good training services. They need to train them, give them learning experiences in different formats, virtual, sometimes offline, sometimes through games or activities even, so that employees feel motivated and they feel good about their work. Then HRs need to ensure that they have a good talent management in their company, how the employees are used for different decision making process, how is yet their experience overall, and how are they getting exposed to different areas of learning. HR should also prepare the employees for future. Whatever changes come up in the future, HRs first should be ready by themselves, and then they should spread awareness within the employees. There should be the environment of diversity, equality, inclusion. People should feel that sense of belongingness. And this technology can never become hindrance to our growth. Rather, it should be the friend, and we should go along hand in hand. HR should be able to develop the future related skills, anything in form of digital literacy, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, whatever trends we have these days, HR should be able to provide them to the employees. So this is how we have tried to learn about these points. I'm sure it was useful to you. You can keep on practicing, you can keep on learning, and we will meet again very soon. Thank you and have a good day.